Basis School, a private charter school, actually a public charter school, is wanting to buy a parcel of land, 4.23 acres, on a small lane in Castle Hills. It's a very well respected school. People want it to be here and to be local, but not on the parcel of land where they have selected to be. The reason is that parcel of land does not, in the side of the school, does not connect to any major arterial, and the lane adjacent to the lot that they would have is only 2 lanes, as are all the connecting lanes just away from that site, and they would be completely blocked by a column of cars coming in and a column of cars leaving, which would fill the 2 lane roads, leaving no room for the residents to get in and out of their own driveway or to use the streets themselves. That is my primary concern. I live within a block of where this school would be located, and I fear I could not get in and out of my own driveway. And almost more importantly, if I needed emergency services from police or ambulance or fire department during the peak pickup and drop-off periods for the school, they may not be able to get to me or be actually quite delayed getting to me, and that could be a crucial difference to my life or to my house, whatever is in risk.
How did something like this, do you know, how could something like this come about? It seems like we're trying to shoehorn something in.
You know, the parcel of land existed, so I guess it's like a vacuum draws. It is located in north central San Antonio, a very desirable area, which could be reached by students and parents coming from northwest, northeast. So I understand the geography. I think on a satellite map it would look like a really good place to be. But I don't think what was considered is somebody with boots on the ground walking the lot and the adjacent lanes to see if it was pragmatic for getting in the 1,175 students and 100 faculty members that they would need to get in and out twice a day. So they can build a beautiful school and they can have wonderful teachers and brilliant students, but if you can't get everybody in and out twice a day, the school building and teachers are purposeless, or else the neighborhood people are overrun, and that's what I fear. We've learned that charter schools have had the Texas legislature pass in recent years laws which exempt charter schools from being subject to zoning that pertains to any other public school. They would even say any zoning regulations. The matters that we're trying to raise here are not simply zoning matters. They are matters of public safety. And that's what I want the world to hear and to know, that we need our public safety, our own civil rights to be able to come and leave our homes, be serviced by police and ambulance, be met. Then there's the practical things of just getting these large garbage trucks up and down to service the homes, and crews of yard service people and the mailman. We'd like to have those services too, maybe not as importantly as the ambulance at any point in time, but you know, in a routine day-to-day life, it's very important to have those things.
Has there been any discussion of improvement of the infrastructure, if the school goes in, infrastructure to get to your house? Or is it what I see over there now?
The only traffic impact analysis which we've been made aware of is partial, in the sense it doesn't have a site impact analysis attached to it. So the traffic impact analysis only evaluates 4 intersections on major arterials in San Antonio. The intersection of South Winston Lane with Northwest Military Highway, intersection of Lock Hill Selma with Northwest Military Highway, the intersection of Northwest Military Highway with West Avenue, and West Castle Lane with West Avenue. They said in their analysis that the street that the school will be on, South Winston, and my street right next to it, West Castle Lane, do not even appear on the city of San Antonio's major maps, because we're just tiny streets. We don't appear.
Why would you not do a traffic study on the road that the structure's going on?
Well, that should be done, and it's my understanding that it is perhaps in the works, but I have not seen it.
What is the time frame? Do you know?
I know that the school repeatedly says they would like to have the school built and open in time for them to start class there next August, September 2017, so within 9 months.
What would you like to see happen?
I would like to see Basis find another lot to use to come to San Antonio and to build and to teach students, but not that lot because it's not properly located along any arterial street, which would allow ingress and exit for the students and their families.
Now, I also understand in talking away, there's no sewage treatment.
The very special part of Castle Lane that we live in, west of West Avenue, right up against the Boy Scout branch, is very semi-rural in its appearance. We have no sidewalks. We have very narrow 2 lanes that are 19 to 21 feet wide. We have no drainage ditches or sewers, and we are all on septic tank. So, of course, a school could not be on septic tanks. They would have to connect by sanitary sewer pipes to sewer pipes on Northwest Military Highway, which do service those businesses along Northwest Military Highway. But since it's downhill from Northwest Military Highway, they'd have to have giant pipes with giant lift pumps to get effluent to the sanitary sewer system.
I'm trying to think of where to go next. I mean, what else do you want to tell me about this? When did you find out about this? Did this try to go under the radar a little bit, or was it known?
There's historical perspective that does make most of us who've lived here a while feel that way. The church, which owns these 4 to 5 acres that Basis School would like to buy and build on, at one point in time bought that acreage, which were Zone A and are still zoned Zone A residential lots, purchased them mainly because the runoff from their own parking lot was so great, it went downhill to this lot, flooded the homeowners there, who were quickly happy to accept offers from the church to sell their properties. So the church acquired 6 homes in a row there on South Winston Lane, and then took down the homes, leaving a grassy field with some trees, which still looks residential and still looks park-like and lends itself to our type of neighborhood. But the church at one time, wanting to become a mega church, wanted to put a parking lot of 450 car spaces on that lot, covering it with tarmac and destroying the grassy tree area. We neighbors did not want that, and the city of Castle Hills spoke up for us and would not give a special use permit for that purpose on Zone A residential land. It was determined that they didn't really need the parking because we counted empty places in their parking lot on Christmas and on Easter and other peak Sundays. The church took us, meaning the city of Castle Hills, to court, federal court, for interference with religious practice. And the federal judge that heard the case made us, the city and the church, come to a negotiated settlement. My husband was on the negotiating team from the city that the city put forth to meet the people from the church. It went on for years to negotiate, and finally a settlement was come to, wherein those lots could be used for athletic purposes, but they were to remain grass-like. And when they built the athletic facility, like a soccer field or whatnot, they were to do it with limited lighting. They were to do it with 50-foot setbacks of trees and berm and architectural walls on each end to protect the neighbors, so they wouldn't have the noise and the light and whatnot come on them. But still, it would remain very grassy and treed. The church needs money, and so the church is selling off peripheral properties to get money. And they are selling this group of 4 to 5 acres to Basis. And it's very interesting in our observation that selling to a charter school is the only entity that they could sell to that would not have to abide by city zoning. And so the city will not be able to enforce the Zone A residential nature of those properties or their own federal agreement that nothing like a parking lot could be built. So instead of a parking lot for 450 cars, we are getting a huge 2-story brown brick building rimmed by parking lots with no grass and no trees left behind. Imagine how joyed we are about that.
Well, that leads to the next question. How does that impact you, make you feel about what exactly potentially is going on right now?
I feel that the church is not being good stewards to its neighbors. I understand that they want money, but they own property that abuts Northwest Military Highway. that would be much more valuable and much more appropriately rezoned commercial. All the land that the church owns currently is Zone A residential land.
Why does Basis want to come into Castle Hills? There's lots of land around here, both in Castle Hills and in San Antonio around it.
I believe that statement is true. One of our neighbor members has found at least 10 sites for sale, both commercial and residential, in this area of the appropriate acreage that have some access to an arterial road, but Basis says they're not interested in those. To Basis' credit, they wanted to build up on the church parking lot, which, as I say, does face Northwest Military Highway, but the church would not sell that land initially. And after speaking to the neighbors, Basis went back and asked the church again to do that, but then the Basis hierarchy and engineers found out it would be more expensive to build on the church parking lot, so that plan was dropped.